Good evening. I am Miriam Abdul-Kawi, and here's what's ahead for you on 7 News Tonight. A crisis crossroads in the sugarcane industry. The minister says he's very worried. You'll hear why. And free education for the South Side. It's getting more kids in schools, but the commissioner says it's also creating a security risk at some of the schools. Also, from graduation, hopefully, to honey exportation, you'll meet Belize's beekeepers of the future. Plus, Chester says he went to a conference in Miami. Jules says he went to a mall. You'll hear them duke it out. These stories and much more ahead on 7 News Tonight, so please stay tuned.
This newscast is brought to you by Cellular World, your authorized Samsung distributor.
This Christmas, take the guesswork out of gifting and take advantage of a galaxy of Christmas gifts from Samsung. Whether you're buying a Galaxy for you or loved ones, you can make their year with a Galaxy for everyone. Take advantage of rock-bottom deals on the full A-Series, S-Series, and Z-Series lineup with Samsung phones starting as low as $299 and Galaxy Tabs for as low as $389. Scratch everybody off your list with a full month of low prices available at any authorized Samsung reseller, including Cellular World, Digi, and Odette's Home Center. Plus, enjoy the affordable awesomeness when you shop, save, and secure your purchase with a 1-year local warranty, included with all Galaxy devices. Even better, get a chance to win up to $20,000 in prizes only when you shop for Galaxy this month from authorized Samsung resellers. Capture the moment, share love, and spread joy this season with a galaxy of Christmas gifts from Samsung. This Christmas, take the guesswork out of gifting and take advantage of a galaxy of Christmas gifts from Samsung. Whether you're buying a Galaxy for you or loved ones, you can make their year with a Galaxy for everyone. Take advantage of rock-bottom deals on the full A-Series, S-Series, and Z-Series lineup with Samsung phones starting as low as $299 and Galaxy Tabs for as low as $389. Scratch everybody off your list with a full month of low prices available at any authorized Samsung reseller, including Cellular World, Digi, and Odette's Home Center. Plus, enjoy the affordable awesomeness when you shop, save, and secure your purchase with a 1-year local warranty, included with all Galaxy devices. Even better, get a chance to win up to $20,000 in prizes only when you shop for Galaxy this month from authorized Samsung resellers. Capture the moment, share love, and spread joy this season with a galaxy of Christmas gifts from Samsung.
Leka kohanil human papilloma virus wala ko kasik 90% yabe la kohanil cervical cancer. 80% yabe la makiantiwa kohanil HPV ichilo kushtala. Waka welte tiyante check kohanil HPV de ekawet ti mausutul the cervical cancer. Lekost up 25 etel 65 ho haba wala ko yelti kwayanti hoa HPV. Deka welti kwayante cha HPV lebe chilukuchil kohanil ichilakal. Hump el pexiltanutal etel Ministry of Health and Wellness, Pan American Health Organization, World Health Organization, etelu anat United States of America.
Channel 7's Christmas Bram is here. It's all happening from Sunday, December 11th to Thursday, December 15th.
And we want you to come up on all the giveaways. So how do you do that?
Come to our office on Albert Street to buy your 25-cent ticket. You can buy as many as you want for more and more chances at a prize.
That ticket gets your name in the barrel and gives you a chance to win cash prizes, jewelry, electronic appliances, and much, much more.
Then, join us in person on Thursday, December 15th for the Brams Grand Finale at our new location, Signature Restaurant and Pub. Your $10 entrance gets you a golden ticket to win even bigger prizes.
So that's 5 nights of non-stop entertainment, non-stop giveaways, and non-stop fun.
The current UDP leader can't seem to make up his mind about corruption.
I totally abhor endemic corruption.
First, he was against corruption.
I was one of the people that asked him to step down, John Saldiva, and needs to move on as candidate for Belmopan.
Then he was for corruption.
This man right here is a man of the people, is a dedicated servant.
Then came the U.S. designation of Saldiva, and suddenly he was against significant corruption.
John Saldiva should not run for the UDP and should withdraw from politics.
But now he's holding a special National Party Council meeting to give significant corruption yet another chance in the UDP. Is he for corruption or is he against it?
You're not serious about eradicating corruption, or you're not serious about ever winning the next election, and that is ultimately what matters here. The party could, in a virtual NPC, select Mr. Saldiva to go back. The party could select a lot of these failed candidates who have the same perception nationally. The party could force those persons on the electorate all we want. Ultimately, we're not going to win, so we have to decide what is it we want.
A message from the UDP Coalition for Unity and Reform.
Stop, love. Don't paint that wall. I have a better idea. Let us wallpaper it. It is cleaner, easier, and so beautiful, and looks very artistic when it is all done, and takes less time to do up a wall than to use that smelly paint. And guess what? It is romantic.
What you mean romantic? What is romantic about putting up a wallpaper, honey? Tell me more.
Well, you see, we will go to Mikado and see the range of wallpaper. Then we will choose the design together. We will come home and start putting up the wallpaper. And we will be together and be beside each other. We can put wallpaper in all the rooms. And who knows? They even have wallpaper for the baby room too.
Well, I like the sound of that. So what are we waiting for? Let's go to Mercado like now.
Come in, honey.
You can also see our selection of wallpaper on our Facebook page. Like us and follow us on Facebook. Mercado, centrally located in the heart of Belize City at number 37 Albert Street.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
Tonight, tensions are high as stakeholders in the sugarcane industry await the results of the mediation between ASR, BSI, and the Belize Sugarcane Farmers Association. They met 3 times last week and again today for the final time. And up to this afternoon, even the Minister of Agriculture was unsure how the meeting was going. The mediation sessions have been confidential, but it has been weighing heavily on the mind of Jose Mai, who told us that he has been praying for an amicable solution because the fate of the sugar industry depends on it.
I will begin with this. Yesterday and today, before daybreak, I asked God for guidance in this matter. I think that we're at a crossroads. I think that the mediation is very important today. The outcome of today's last session mediation is going to determine the shape of the sugar industry. And so I am very concerned about it. There are 5,000 cane farmers and their families. And I think that today's outcome is going to be very important for the future of the industry.
Devil's advocate, but if agreement is not reached, I mean, what can Belize expect? What can we expect?
The president work.
The worst case scenario could be going back to the status quo, which in my view is not good for the farmers. I think that they should have earned some ground, but I don't know that that is the case yet. But I'm optimistic about it.
And while ASR-BSI is ready to start this year's cane crop on Monday, Mai says it's up to the Sugar Board to fix the date of commencement.
BSI has announced its preparedness for the 19th. However, the date to opening the crop is set by the Sugar Board. The Sugar Board term expired 1 day ago. This morning, I have appointed a new board. That board will meet, scheduled to meet tomorrow evening. And that date will be set. By law, it is the Sugar Board that sets the date for the commencement of the crop. BSI could have announced their readiness to start on the 19th. But the board makes the announcement by law.
Are you anticipating that things might actually get as bad as it got last year with that blockade and everything?
Hoping and praying that that's not the case.
We'll let you know the outcome of the mediation session as soon as we know. And while the stakeholders in the sugar industry hold their breaths as they wait to hear what came out of the meeting, farmers who lost their crops during Hurricane Lisa last month are hoping that more help is on the way. According to the minister, the final damage report was just finalized about a week ago.
We have submitted a complete comprehensive report to NEMO. I think that we made public any time now. That has been submitted. That was the procedure submitted to NEMO for the agriculture sector damages. We did the assessment already.
Can you give us a figure?
I can't give that figure to you later, but I have the report and I can give it to you. Because it has been changing every day, new reports come in. But the final report came in, I think, sometime a week ago, right? And so I want to look at that carefully before I release it. But I can give it to you, that's no problem.
Minister Mai also doubles as the area representative for Orange Walk South, a constituency with about 7,000 voters, the second smallest constituency in that district. But that will change after the redistricting process. And Mai says he's prepared for whatever may come, and he believes he's still got a fighting chance at the polls.
Whatever will happen. I'm prepared. If they take away getting grass from me and give me something else, I have to work. Right. I believe that redistricting is a very important activity. I mean, to have everybody give an equal opportunity. I have close to 7,000 voters. I've worked since 2006 in my constituency, so I know every family. If I don't know them by name, I know the father or the sister by name. So it's a little difficult to let go of some of your people, right? But it is what it is. In politics, that's the way it goes, right? I have to be prepared for it, that's all.
And you're confident that at the polls, again, you'll be able to retain or keep Orange Walk South?
I think I've put in my work for my constituency and for the country as a Minister of Agriculture. But the people are the better judges of that. I can't pat myself on the shoulder. The people will do that for me. So that would depend on them for that.
Later on, we'll have an interview with the chairman of the Election and Boundaries Commission about the shape of the redistricting process. And we take a break now, but when we come back, more kids are enrolled in school. And that's a good thing, but it's also causing some security problems. The commissioner says school principals called him to a meeting. Stay tuned.
The deals continue this massive season. Starting December 12th until December 24th, it's 12 straight days of massive deals with up to 25% off on selected items each day. From grills to appliances and more. Every day, you get a new opportunity to take advantage of new items on sale. Check out our website and social media platforms for updates each day. Deals, P-Bucks, rewards, everything is massive this season at Benny's.
I remember how energetic you were when we were setting up your nursery. Do you remember this one?
That's when we went on vacation. I loved the pool. I made a big splash.
This is a memorable one for me. That was the year you were very thoughtful.
I remember that year. I had to save all my money to buy everyone a gift.
These past years have brought so much joy to our family.
You too can feel the Christmas joy with an Atlantic Bank Easy Credit Loan. Borrow for that special gift, improve your home, or for your holiday travels. Apply today and take advantage of great interest rates, easy and fast approval, discounted bank fees, and convenient repayment terms. Our approved loans from October 3rd to December 16th, 2022 will be entered into our Christmas raffle. For more details, visit atlabank.com. Atlantic Bank, spreading Christmas joy this holiday season.
Make every moment memorable as we eat, drink, and be merry with our family and friends this season. Happy holidays from Quayos Distillery Limited.
Channel 7's Christmas Bram is here. It's all happening from Sunday, December 11th to Thursday, December 15th.
And we want you to come up on all the giveaways. So how do you do that?
Come to our office on Albert Street to buy your 25-cent ticket. You can buy as many as you want for more and more chances at a prize.
That ticket gets your name in the barrel and gives you a chance to win cash prizes, jewelry, electronic appliances, and much, much more.
Then, join us in person on Thursday, December 15th for the Bram's grand finale at our new location, Signature Restaurant and Pub. Your $10 entrance gets you a golden ticket to win even bigger prizes.
So that's 5 nights of non-stop entertainment, non-stop giveaways, and non-stop fun.
I must be dreaming.
Oh no, honey bun, you're not. Everything you hear so far, that's true. Delta Store has a new look. Delta Store is at the same location, right down Albert Street. Delta Store has a wide variety of fabric. Delta Store offers quality and savings. Everything in a Delta Store is only $4.99 or less. Snap out of that dream and head on down to Delta Store today.
Hola. Disculpa por no llegar anoche. Lo siento. He estado hace tiempo con ganas de decirte algo. Últimamente estoy lidiando con mis problemas de salud mental.
I think if there was no stigma around mental health, I'd be more open about what I'm going through on the inside. And I don't know, maybe I'd find that other people in my life are actually going through the same thing.
Há alguns anos, comecei a contar para outras pessoas sobre minha ansiedade. Isso me ajudou a descobrir ótimas formas de como lidar com ela.
Soy muy sociable. Creo que si hablara sobre mis problemas de la salud mental, simplemente no lo creerían. Por eso no hablo de ello.
Me preocupa que si la gente se enterara de mi salud mental, pensarán que soy débil. Por eso me aislé. Pero creo que voy a cambiar esto.
Season's greetings from all of us at Atlantic Insurance, wishing you the gift of faith, the blessing of hope, and the wonder of this holiday season at Christmas and in the new year. This holiday season, whether you're in the driver's seat or walking down the street, always respect the rules of the road. Do not speed, do not drink and drive, drive safely, and enjoy this holiday season with your loved ones. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you and your family from all of us at Atlantic Insurance.
Three men were shot this afternoon on LaCroix Boulevard in a wild shootout and high-speed chase. Around 1:50, three men were inside a Toyota Camry parked on LaCroix Boulevard by the Adventist Church when someone fired several shots at the vehicle. The driver, 61-year-old Kingsley Morrison, and his 25-year-old passengers, Chris Welch and Ulied Welch, Allen, sped away, but the gunman pursued him onto Mahogany Street extension by Kim's Block Factory and shot Morrison as he was driving. Morrison then used his licensed weapon to fire 2 shots in the air and then drove to the KHMH for treatment. Ulied and Allen and Kingsley Morrison were treated and released. Chris Welch is admitted in a stable condition. 13 expended shells were recovered from the area. Meanwhile, in education news, today was the last day of classes for most schools before the Christmas break. But this school year is also a year of pilot projects, including testing out the new curriculum. And as teachers slowly transition to the new model of teaching, the education minister says that they've been able to move on to another phase of the pilot.
As you know, this is a pilot year, so it's a transition year. And the new curriculum, national curriculum framework will be put in place fully in August of next year. So this is a transition year. We're doing it first at the primary school level. So we have about close to 270 primary schools that are piloting it this year. We're now in phase 2 of that process, where now we are going around the team. We put together another team. Again, Minister Zabane is leading that effort. So they're traveling the country now, meeting with the various stakeholders, meeting with teachers, meeting with schools to do exactly as you said, to determine what has worked, what hasn't worked, so that those changes can be made. But so far, the reports generally are that we have had, good success. And I think the teachers have been very receptive to the new curriculum. Students have been receptive to it. But it's a pilot year. The whole purpose of this year is to find out how it works, what needs to be changed. And we've also been doing a lot of training with our teachers. So that's very important, both through our TLI and our 501 Academy National School Portal. So a lot of work is ongoing. And I think, certainly in the new year, we will have a better idea of exactly what needs to be changed and how we need to do things differently if necessary.
And that's not the only project the ministry is testing out. The Free Education Project targeted 4 Southside schools this past semester, providing everything from tuition to uniforms. And Minister Fonseca says they're seeing the results, since attendance at these schools have increased by a cumulative of 200 students.
That's going very well. It's going very well. As you know, we've targeted 4 government high schools: the GEMS, Gwen Lizarraga, Excelsior, Maud Williams, and Sadie Vernon. It's a comprehensive approach to education, feeding programs, transportation, uniforms, digital devices, everything. So it's a major undertaking, but it's been going very well. The schools have been reporting that student attendance is up, and that's our main objective. We had an enrollment in those 4 schools of around 800 students totally. That has gone up to around 1,000, so we have an additional 200 students, and we hope, of course, to continue to expand that. Moving forward in the next fiscal year, we will expand to the south of the country. So we will include schools from the Sand Creek district and the Toledo district in that free education rollout. That will be in the new fiscal year budget.
And while increased enrollment at Southside schools is a good thing, it's also creating a security situation. More children in schools means more young boys from different neighborhoods that may have beef with each other. The commissioner said he was called to a meeting with the principals to discuss their security concerns.
When we have the pilot project with the free education on Southside, that have increased enrollment in schools by almost double. So we have more children going to school now. But it has also triggered another problem where we're seeing that we're having a lot of fights in school. So that is another issue we're trying to address now. Because we now have different characters and different groups in schools, and so they are creating some sort of problems. We met with the principals in Belize City last week. We're looking at a way how we can address the issue. We certainly don't believe that removing the children from school is the solution. We're going to see how we can help from the police department to ensure that it provides some level of policing to the school. Now, we're not there yet where we can say we're going to put a policeman at every school. But we certainly will try to use our community policing officers to be at schools, particularly when schools are letting out. And we're going to ensure we have patrols within the school area by the officers who are patrolling that particular area while the students are being let out. And we're hoping that that will help to diffuse some of the issues.
And on to a different kind of school, beekeeping classes, where the only security risk is being stung. More than 40 farmers today graduated from a honey project program where they learned all about beekeeping. The goal is to eventually standardize the honey made in Belize and break it into the international market, especially in larger countries where organic honey is hard to find. But it starts with these beekeepers who come from across the country, each with their own reasons for wanting to raise bees and harvest honey, along with a number of other byproducts. Courtney Menzies traveled west to the graduation ceremony today and has this story.
Over 40 students are certified and ready to join the sweet world of the honey industry. The Ministry of Agriculture's honey project concluded today with a graduation for all the beekeepers to be. According to the minister, the goal for this training program is to up the standard of the honey production in Belize so that it can hopefully reach the international market.
We realize that the honey industry is a viable industry in Belize to a certain extent. So way back in the 80s, the production of honey fell. It fell so low that there was barely any production. We used to export to Europe at that time. So after so many years and efforts, we couldn't get it up until now. I think that now we have to move forward towards looking at the export market now. You know, we only have a certain amount which can be consumed in the country because of population. Now, as we expand, you see today we have new beekeepers, we have new production coming in. We have to look at the export market now. That means two things. It means one, standards, and the other, certification. It means now that we have to have traceability in place. We have to have good manufacturing practices. We have to have good standards in place if we're going to tap into the export market. There's different type of honey. The honey up north, for example, comes from sugarcane flowers, right? That's a darker honey. I've seen the honey down south in Toledo. It comes from all the forests. There's beautiful, it's clear, crystal, and different people want different types of honey. So I think that we have tremendous potential, especially down south. I think it's just amazing.
What were some of the things that they learned in the program?
Well, everything. Management, managing bees. Nobody likes to get bee sting, you know. But that's the first thing you have to deal with, the stings, the day-to-day management, the cultural practices, how do you establish a hive, how do you set them out, what are some of the constraints you'll find, some of the problems you'll deal with, just like a farm, you know, it's a farm. You have to deal with the animals, and so that this training entailed all of that, including some equipment for the beekeepers.
And the graduates each have their own reasons for wanting to pursue beekeeping as their livelihood. One mother says it's always been in her family, while another nature-loving woman exchanged her office job for sustainable farming. And one 23-year-old man says he wants to give back to his country. We spoke with them today.
Beekeeping is something that interests me from the beginning because my father and my grandparents were beekeepers. But when I actually realized it's when I didn't have anything to do during pandemic. I was at home, find myself at home, and that's when I realized that it's something the idea came from my son, who's also with me. And that is when we started to go into it. And just by going and capturing bees everywhere that we can find bees, we started with capturing the bees. But we didn't know how to keep them. Most of them run away. Bees are funny business. Then at the same time, it looks like the Minister of Agriculture said that there would be a beekeeping training. So we decided to apply for it and we got accepted. After the training, we learned so much about what to do with the bees. And hence, it can compare with nothing, the contest with you we had watched. So that is the reason why we have progresses from the bees running away to where we are at the moment. The only risk you might think will be there is pain, but women take so much pain, so beekeeping should be a problem. The one or two strong, no, unless you are allergic.
A few years ago, about 4 years ago, we moved on the farm. I gave up the office, moved on the farm, and decided to become a farmer. We weren't sure what direction to go. We were doing organic farming. We do greens, kale, pak chow, and different fruit trees. We started planting, but we wanted to do some sort of livestock. And one of the things is that we're big into the preservation and conservation of our rainforest, our jungle. And we didn't want to tear down our jungle. Livestock, you need to tear down your jungle. And so we did some research on bees, and we understand that bees are also livestock.
Do you feel like you'll be able to get your honey up to that standard to be exported to other countries?
Definitely, that's the goal, to be able to tap into the export market and to be able to tap into the other byproducts of the bees, because a lot of time we put our emphasis on honey, but there are many other byproducts that are even more expensive. So you would get a bigger income if you start diversifying into the other byproducts such as the pollen, the royal jelly, and so we can get on that level with Mexico and Guatemala.
It's always been a dream of ours as a family, since my family is a family that we grew up on agriculture. So it was necessary to have bees on the farm because, the bees offer different pollination services to the fruits, and then which also then increases our production, which also results in increased profits for the family. The hardest part would be probably dedication, because it consumes a lot of your free time, so then you would have to dedicate yourself. Rather than being out on the weekends, having fun, you would have to dedicate that time to provide a service that many Belizeans don't actually recognize, because beekeeping is a very a huge industry for Belize, and being a country that solely is relying on agriculture, it's something that is very, very important for us as a country to start appreciate the work that beekeepers do in the country. I feel as an individual, I have the role being an agricultural major to help the country be food secure. So then I chose that route. But also, I mean, as a young individual, then all the time management come into place. So then you will definitely find time to socialize. I mean, it's all a balance. You have to balance life.
At the end of the training, each student received 4 hives to get started on their sweet new job. Courtney Menzies, 7 News.
Meanwhile, the Senate met in Belmopan yesterday, but due to time constraints, it didn't make the cut for the evening news. Leading off the debate was the supplementary appropriation bill for $70 million to be spent on various government initiatives. The opposition senator called it reckless spending.
But, Madam President, the kicker for me is the $1.5 million for new vehicle purchases. We are not in austerity then, but the public officers are. What a lame excuse for not speaking to public officers about their increments. It is, with an R, it is a reckless budget. This government is spending monies as if though they're taking it from their wallets out their back pockets, or going into their bags and spending money carelessly. Or they're pulling out a credit card with a limitless bottom, no balance, limitless. The question, Madam President, who will pay for it? It will be squeezed from the pockets of the Belizean people.
How can someone come to this Senate with a clear conscience and make an accusation of recklessness? Recklessness. Madam President, members of the Senate, when you wear a badge of shame, be quiet. When the Supreme Court of Belize declares that the government of which you are a part of illegally, unconstitutionally, and criminally spent $1.3 billion without parliamentary approval, and a supplementary bill comes before this honorable Senate, don't accuse people of recklessness.
Of this budget, $17,789,734 is allocated to hurricane relief, which is 25.2% of the 70.5. And had my dear Senator taken the time to attend the meeting that was held on Monday, that $4 million for health would have been clearly explained that it is going directly to the Carl Houston Memorial Hospital. When vehicles are parked, it's not for ministers. It's for the public servants to be able to get their job done. So what's the problem?
But when we look at $242 million over 4 appropriation supplementary bills over the course of a year, you know, it begs the question of whether or not we could perhaps go through that budgeting process a little more tactical, a little more surgical, and perhaps be a little better with respect to how we're estimating the numbers.
The reference to the $240 million in supplementaries, one supplementary alone represented over $76 million, and that was for the settlement of the BISL debacle, the judgment that the past administration lost. That alone is $76 million of that 240. There were also skeletons in the closet, and those skeletons keep emerging. The remnants of those keep emerging, and in this supplementary alone, we have to look at some of those. The reference to rentals and the rental costs, that has to do with the 5 C's. a significant part of that has to do with the 5 Cs. Belize made a commitment to enable the 5 Cs to be represented in Belize, to host the 5 Cs. There's clear agreement in that regard, but we stopped paying or we're hardly paying the rent. And even with respect to KHMH, that $4 million, $1.5 million of that is for vendors' payables, of which roughly $1 million is for Fabregas, for monies owing in terms of oxygen over 3 years. So we have a multitude of these remnants of liabilities that keep popping up that we have to address.
The opposition also did not support the appointment of H. Gilbert Suazo as ombudsman. The former Ports Commissioner and Antigua Mayor has been approved to take up the post, but temporary Senator Ian Jones pointed to the age of the 61-year-old.
We, on this side, would like to ask the question in terms of whether any other persons were looked at for this position, not only based on qualifications, but on age. Because as a young person, as a young professional, I find it very difficult to continue to see that retired public servants are brought back as if a slap in the face of the younger public servant saying, you're not ready, you're not there yet. Where we do have many qualified younger persons who we believe could have been considered for this post. The gentleman in question was recently in his present employment on administrative leave. I mean, to have such questions looming when you're supposed to then be appointed to a post such as the ombudsman, it leaves a lot of uncertainties on our side.
Easy for me to associate myself with the comments made by fellow senators who spoke in support of Major Suazo. Major Suazo has distinguished himself in many capacities and enjoys the confidence of the government and most Belizeans. The fact that he is 61 is not a disqualification or a reason for criticism. The notion that one would come here and speak about someone being on administrative leave without any evidence and without any details is regrettable. This is a good Belizean, a patriotic Belizean, and an upright and upstanding citizen.
Tonight, Gilbert Suazo says, I wasn't on any administrative leave. I was on terminal leave ending when the contract ended. And when it got to the bill for an act to extend the age of retirement for the Auditor General, temporary Senator Jones also spoke. The bill is to make it so that Dorothy Bradley, who had already reached the age of retirement, can be rehired as Auditor General in line with requirements of the Constitution. Jones urged the government to also strengthen that office, which he had experience with when he was Director of Sports, and they were investigating a huge case of embezzlement at the Sports Council.
What was expressed to me by the Auditor General was that we found ourselves in that situation because the National Sports Council had not been audited since prior to that, from 2007. And what she had said to me then was that it was impossible for them, despite the Sports Act saying that the Auditor General was to audit the statutory body every 12 months, it was impossible for them to do it because of their understaffing and underfunding. And we spoke earlier about the budget and about efficiency and accountability. And until we can properly staff and fund the Auditor General's department to be able to have that oversight in every ministry that they're tasked to do, then we will continue to have recurrent problems despite which administration is the administration of the day. So that is my contribution to that, Madam President.
I find it remarkable that he had this experience. What did his government do all of a sudden on the road to Damascus, we find out, oh, we need to expand and fund the office. What did your government do? Huh? Madam President, this government is the government that is increasing the budget for the Auditor General. We all understand that that office plays a critical role.
And earlier in the news, you saw what Agriculture Minister Jose Mai had to say about redistricting and what the process could mean for his constituents in the Orange Walk constituency. The man is ultimately in charge of overseeing the rollout of the entire process is Oscar Sabito Puga, the chairman of the Elections and Boundaries Commission. Today, Puga engaged in an extended sit-down interview with our colleagues from KREM News, in which he discussed the process in great detail. Among those topics was the lawsuit the Belize Peace Movement brought against the commission long before he was appointed to the chair. Here's an excerpt of his views on the way and the case ended in a consent order, which now makes redistricting mandatory instead of just a pre-election promise.
So we couldn't come to an agreement. So we felt that because there was a need to do litigation, there was no need for litigation. It would only increase costs, it would only make things worse, and we could settle this matter. We asked the court to strike out the claim. And that was done sometime in late 2021. But at the same time, we were forming the task force, which was established in December. And we felt that by going to the court and saying to the court, we are in the process of redistricting, there is actually the procedure implemented for the redistricting in December 2021. The task force has been formed. And we are in the process of getting this done. All the timelines have been set, the terms of reference have been prepared, and that was disclosed to the court. And we asked the court to, in a sense, put an end to the proceedings, which we felt could only be done by application to strike out, on the basis that there was no need for litigation, there was a need to save costs, there was a need to expedite the matter of the redistricting, and we should conclude it as soon as possible. The court was of the different view sometime in February, I think. We then, at that time, accelerated our pursuit in terms of getting the matter settled, because we felt that even though the court had found that that is the case, it was expected, because normally applications of that kind, the court allows the parties to come to a conclusion rather than the court intervening and putting an end to the matter. So we felt also that critics would say that it was not keeping in tandem with what the commission purports to do, which is to do the redistricting, and yet at the same time asking the court to put an end to an application by interested parties to have the redistricting done as soon as possible. So we began our efforts again to settle the matter, because the court had directed that the matter be settled. And in the case management of March 2021, also in the case management, the parties had agreed that it should be settled. So eventually in late October, we had a settlement, which the parties could agree to. We agreed that our deadline, our timeline of July 2023 would be the date by which we were to present to the National Assembly our report. And we are working towards that. And there was one little issue, which was that for some reason, there was a proposal that we should do it by 17th of July. We could not fathom that particular proposal, but we agreed to it for the reason that 17th of July and the end of July barely makes a difference. So we agreed that we would present it by the 17th of July to the National Assembly. And at that time, then, of course, the claimants will have a copy, which is going to be public record at the time when it's presented to the National Assembly. So we didn't have a problem with that. And that's basically where we are right now. We are working diligently towards getting the report in by July.
And we'll have more from that interview in the coming days. Meanwhile, Senator and Minister of Immigration, Eamon Courtney, also spoke about the reason for extending Belize's amnesty program for another 3 months. That extension is largely due to the low number of immigrants who have qualified for the program thus far. Just a fruition of 40 to 60,000 projected by the government of Belize have signed up. Courtney explained that many who qualify need more time to be able to access the service. They also need to stop fearing mass deportation.
Some people are scared to come forward. They're scared to come forward because they are of the impression that if they don't have all the documents or they don't comply with any of the criteria, they will have exposed themselves and they will be subject to deportation. We have tried to explain that the purpose of this is to bring people out of the dark side and bring them into the light, into the formal sector. There will be no mass deportations. That is not the purpose of this. But a person who does not qualify for the amnesty and intends to make Belize his or her home can regularize by applying for a visa to stay. So it is not intended to try to find people, to round them up, and to deport them. Secondly, what we have found, Madam President, is that we had opened offices throughout the country. Many of the people who qualify for amnesty are working. The offices were closed on the weekends, like government offices. And therefore, whilst the office was open, many people could not find the time to come and to register. And so, two things. One, we started to do some outreach, which has been very successful. As we have moved from farm to village, etc., we have found hundreds of people who qualify but who could not come to the offices.
And we're going to a break now. And after that, Kumpel Chester says he went to a big policing conference in Miami. But Jules says he just went to the mall. You'll hear how that ended and a closer look at the battle over transparency in the company's registry. Stay tuned.
I remember how energetic you were when we were setting up your nursery. Do you remember this one?
That's when we went on vacation. I loved the pool. I made a big splash.
This is a memorable one for me. That was the year you were very thoughtful.
I remember that year. I had to save all my money to buy everyone a gift.
These past years have brought so much joy to our family.
You too can feel the Christmas joy with an Atlantic Bank Easy Credit Loan. Borrow for that special gift, improve your home, or for your holiday travels. Apply today and take advantage of great interest rates, easy and fast approval, discounted bank fees, and convenient repayment terms. Our approved loans from October 3rd to December 16th, 2022 will be entered into our Christmas raffle. For more details, visit atlabank.com. Atlantic Bank, spreading Christmas joy this holiday season.
The Social Security Board is proud to have served Belizeans in 2022.
Belize faced challenges such as the continuing COVID-19 pandemic and Hurricane Lisa. Our country's resilience and ability to persevere in adversity is the prevailing and unifying theme. Of our many organizational accomplishments in 2022, we are particularly proud of our commitment to impact the lives of Belizean citizens positively and continuously under our corporate social responsibility portfolio. As a responsible corporate citizen, SSB supported various societal partners to amplify progress in many communities and provided empowerment opportunities through scholarships, sports, education, and health. SSB recognizes that for societal change to abound, we must continue our integral efforts to drive change and contribute to causes in meaningful and impactful ways. Our community engagements will forever serve as the most meaningful moments for 2022. 2023 will be another transformational year for SSB. It will be a year of enhanced community engagement and outreach, and the rollout of additional service enhancements via the My Social Security self-service portal. We stand ready to continue our service to you. From the Board of Directors, management, and staff of the Social Security Board, we wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
¿Sabías que Hospital Galenia modificó los protocolos de seguridad y prevención de salud ante la pandemia de COVID-19 para evitar contagios?
Se garantiza que todo paciente que llega a quirófano está libre de COVID y durante su periodo de recuperación no va a tener contacto con un paciente infectado.
Hospital Galenia, más que un hospital.
Channel 7's Christmas Bram is here. It's all happening from Sunday, December 11th to Thursday, December 15th.
And we want you to come up on all the giveaways. So how do you do that?
Come to our office on Albert Street to buy your 25-cent ticket. You can buy as many as you want for more and more chances at a prize.
That ticket gets your name in the barrel and gives you a chance to win cash prizes, jewelry, electronic appliances, and much, much more.
Then, join us in person on Thursday, December 15th for the Bram's grand finale at our new location, Signature Restaurant and Pub. Your $10 entrance gets you a golden ticket to win even bigger prizes.
So that's 5 nights of non-stop entertainment, non-stop giveaways, and non-stop fun.
We live in a world where undernutrition and obesity can exist side by side in the same country, home, or even person. Foods high in sugars, salt, and/or unhealthy fats are leading to unhealthy diets and are one reason why children may not be growing healthily, while causing other people to develop overweight or obesity. The consumption of unhealthy diets is heavily influenced by marketing. Easy access is fueling this new nutrition reality, but thankfully, change towards a healthier future is possible. By having a sustainable healthy diet made up of a variety of foods that are safe for consumption, we can promote health and have better abilities to fight illness. How do we do this? Good nutrition for women during pregnancy and for children in their first 1,000 days of life, including breastfeeding, sets them up for healthy adulthood and future generations. We should eat more fresh fruits and vegetables, whole grains, pulses, nuts and seeds, and less sugary drinks and foods high in sugars, salt and unhealthy fats. The less of these foods we buy, the more the food industry will be encouraged to produce foods that contribute to healthy diets. We can also call on our leaders to make the right decisions so that every person, everywhere, can afford and access good nutrition. When people like you and me, industries and governments work together to make positive changes, we can create a healthier world.
This newscast is brought to you by Cellular World, your authorized Samsung distributor. Please, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7. Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
Earlier in the week, we told you about the information sharing session that the Belize Chamber of Commerce and Industry held with the press. They were seeking to provide a balanced and evidence-based approach to make the case that the government shouldn't rush to move the minimum wage from $3.30 an hour to $5 an hour. Well, on Monday, the chamber provided research demonstrating that governments in other jurisdictions could encourage employers to pay a living wage by giving small tax breaks that offer relief in the cost of production. Here's what Dean Elliott, the chamber's chief police analyst, had to say about these types of programs.
There are programs around the world that incentivize you. They give you bragging rights, as you will to say. They get a plaque. Your employees are actually happier, so you become more productive. And several different benefits follow from these living wage employer programs. And you actually get certified for them in other jurisdictions. Canada has one, UK, US. So these programs are becoming more and more popular. So what we are saying to members of the private sector who can afford the increase, of course, take it up to $5, take it up to $10 if you can afford it. That's perfectly in order and reasonable.
We also took the opportunity to ask Chamber President Marcelo Blake about their war of press releases with the Department of Environment over the way the voting went when the National Environmental Appraisal Committee met and rejected the Port of Belize cruise port and cargo expansion project. The chamber insisted they voted yes to the project, but that their vote was submitted via email. The department responded by saying that the NEAC only accepts votes from members in person and that their decision is science-based. The chamber clapped back on that and insisted that the DOE was mischaracterizing their email vote and their pro-development policy. So we asked the president about the disagreement on Monday.
At the end of the day, we would never and will never operate outside of the law. And so we sought the advice and the direction from the Department of the Environment for us to register our vote when we recognized that we would not have been able to. There was all intentions for us to be present at that meeting. It just so happened that situations played out that did not allow us to. And so when we were given the go-ahead to do so, we ensured that we provided our position in writing on what is a written ballot vote document that was actually shared with the committee days prior to that meeting on November 24th, I believe it was. And so at the end of the day, we operated with the direction from the department.
So for them to suggest that you all did something contrary to best practices, you think all are unfair?
It's definitely unfair, because at the end of the day, we would not have acted had we not consulted to be able to get that direction.
What about their disagreement suggesting that the technical positions, the science-based approach that environment needs, those didn't factor as strongly in the chamber's decision to vote yes? We saw the response in your press release saying we have to support development, and we will only not support it if we feel it is detrimental to the country.
That comment made in the release by the department is on an assumption that, in fact, that technical information provided would have changed our vote. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, we are, in fact, as you rightly said, pro-business, pro-development, and unless it's going to be detrimental to the country, then why would we not support the initiative?
Yesterday in Belmopan, we asked the Commissioner of Police about his hands-on style of leadership. He credits that for the lowering of crime statistics in the year he's been at the helm. But not everyone is a fan. Some of his commanders describe him as personal and vindictive. But are those just the complaints of those who don't like being held accountable? Here's how he put it.
I take great pride in the work I do.
I don't believe in failing. I've never known myself to be a failure. And I've always said that once I sit in the seat as Commissioner of Police, I will do my utmost best to make sure that we do reduce crime. And I am sure you have the crime stats to show that under my tenure, crime remains low compared to the previous commissioners. And holding commanders accountable is important. When you are a commander, you are held at a very high level. And if at the command level there is not that commitment, then how then do you expect the commitment will be below? And that's the reason why I always say to my commanders, as the person in charge, you must take command and you must take control. And yes, when I see that they're not taking command and control, I have to step in because at the end of the day, the buck stops with me. And I don't care who dislike me from among my ranks because of the stance that I take. So long as I'm doing the right thing and doing for the greater good of the department, I expect that commanders are going to understand. And that is the type of relationship I have with my commanders. Yes, when there's a need to pull them and whip them, I pull them, whip them, and send them back out, and we're good to go. We don't hold no qualms, no malice. It is always done in good faith to ensure that we achieve the greater good. Keeping our citizens safe must always be at the forefront of what we do.
It is said, though, that you're very personal and punitive in your actions against your commanders.
If a commander can't make the cut, then you have to go. Simple as that. I am not here to baby no commander. You have a high rank. You must be able to carry the weight of the rank that you bear. If you cannot carry the weight of the rank that you bear, you must go.
And that same leadership style is what had the commissioner taking a slight victory lap at a recent conference he attended in Miami, Florida. It's the Association of Caribbean Commissioners of Police, the ACCP Intersessional Conference. Jules Vasquez asked the Compol about the conference and whether he went there or to the mall.
Compol, you recently attended a conference in Miami. I don't know if it was at the Dolphin Mall that they had the conference. I heard that's where you were. They told me that you may have a conference at the mall. Speak to us a little about the conference you attended.
That's a very good one, Jules. Yes, I attended the ACCP Intersessional Conference in Miami, and no, it was not held at Dolphin Mall. It was held at the Sherrington Hotel at the International Airport. The conference basically was centered around the whole issue of dealing with violent crime within the Caribbean. We also touched on the issue of cybercrime and transnational organized crime, as well as the proliferation of firearms within the Caribbean region. I am happy to see that in the past, when we used to have crime within the Caribbean region, it used to be Jamaica, Trinidad, Belize. We were always at number 3 in terms of the violent crimes. But this year, I can say that Belize is down compared to Bahamas. And Bahamas do have a smaller landmass than Belize. It has a smaller population than Belize. And the police force of Bahamas is almost 2 times the size of the Belize Police Department. And despite that, at this present moment, Bahamas have almost 130 murders at this point. Compared to us, I think we're at 106.
At the conference, obviously, you all are law enforcement officers, but what you all deal with are social problems. Yes. Is there a consensus on what is fueling the very high crime rates in Bahamas, in Jamaica, in Trinidad? These are record years for murders coming out of COVID. Is there increased social desperation in the region?
Well, yes, like I said, Bahamas, record year, well, almost, not really record year. I think they had an year where they had 140 something. But that was long ago. Since then, the numbers have been down. But this year again is up. Trinidad, record year. Jamaica, record year. And Belize, we're down. Again, you might not want to agree, but leadership is essential. You said earlier that commanders complain about my style of leadership. And I always say to my commanders, don't take my whipping in a negative way. Look at it in a positive way. I'm just simply telling you certain things because I'm highlighting your shortcomings to you because I want you to be better at what you're doing.
And for several days now, we've been telling you about the media's frustration with the Briceño government's change at the Belize Companies and Corporate Affairs Registry. The keepers of the company's registry have made a significant upgrade to their system, which has now gone from paper to digital. Also, Belize became more compliant with the strict requirements of international financial regulators by merging the local company's registry with the International Business Companies Registry. But those upgrades came at a significant cost. The previously free and open registry access that the press and general public enjoyed is now cut off. As you heard last week, the press isn't pleased about the change, but the government insists that they are picking the wrong fight. Our very own Daniel Ortiz has been closely examining their main arguments, and tonight he looks closely at the issues at play. Here's that story in detail.
One of the reasons why Minister of State Chris Coye insists that the independent media is picking the wrong fight over company privacy is because secretive Belizean investors figured out that under the old system, it's best to register their enterprise as an offshore company instead of as a local business.
Some of what I've heard been referred to is that there's full access and open disclosure of director and shareholder information under the old Companies Act for the local companies, but there wasn't under the IBC Act. Well, Belizeans did take advantage of that as well, that if they want to keep their information private, that they would form the IBC. So even before this new Companies Act, that option was available and was in fact utilized. I think the Brad's Gaming scenario or situation is actually very useful from different perspectives. That operated under the old law, and under that old law, as much as the discussion has been on transparency, nobody, certainly then, I don't know about now, and certainly the media, as far as I understand, was able to find who the ultimate beneficial owners of that company was.
Under the current regime, you wouldn't even be able to find out that Goodley is a principal in Brad's, because all you would know that it's Brad's. You would have to go to the agent, the attorney, to say who are the shareholders of Brad. So that is one more layer of concealment that they now have.
I'm not sure that there is an additional layer of concealment. That was what was the law before. So that's the law that's effectively being integrated now.
Minister Coye also thinks that a better way to get at the transparency objectives that the press is championing is to compel any company that wants to do business with the government to disclose their full details, such as directors, shareholders, and ultimate beneficial ownership.
I could propose a very simple solution to that problem. Any person or entity that looks to conduct business or enter into any contract with the government should fully and absolutely disclose directors, shareholders, and ultimate beneficial owners. That would deal with that problem immediately, directly, and in a simple manner. Now, that was not available, that was not done when it concerned the Bolido contract, and so you have that problem. But if that was done, you wouldn't even have to try and find anything in, where is it, St. Lucia, or wherever it was.
How do you make that real, Minister? I mean, I hear that it's a suggestion. We all would support that. But you're the minister. Make it into law.
That has to go through its processes, including cabinet, and after cabinet, if cabinet so approves, then to the legislature, to the National Assembly. This discussion has just developed over the past few days, and I'd certainly be happy to work on a cabinet paper to put that forward.
Coye must have mentioned his full disclosure proposal to Prime Minister Briceño over the weekend, because on Monday evening, when the press asked the PM about the now private company records under the new registry system, he proposed it as a compromise. The idea was even fleshed out a bit more.
We are proposing right now to present to Cabinet policy and law. Immediately, we want to start with the policy until we change the law, is to ensure that anybody that wants to do business with government, any company that wants to do business with government, cannot own a company with a registered agent. We have to know who are the board of the members of the board, who are the shareholders, and who are the ultimate beneficiaries. That is what you should be concerned of.
Briceño's Finance Minister of State says that the full disclosure by government contractors could then be bolstered by the press or other civilians who can demand public disclosure via applications under the Freedom of Information Act, FOIA.
In terms of the suggestion I made, I would think that that would work complementary to that disclosure, because that disclosure is made to the government, and if there is an investigation, a journalist wants to investigate that contract or anything associated with that contract, the Freedom of Information Act could be utilized to access that information.
FOIA requests aren't perfect. We've seen persons who complain that you have to be very specific in what you're requesting, and when you're trying to investigate whether or not a specific company or its shareholders or beneficial owners have behaved in a certain way, their interest is to conceal. We use it to frustrate.
That I think you could look at how the Freedom of Information Act operates and whether it can be improved.
So, since the FOIA is supposed to be the tip of the spear used to get at public disclosures from government agencies, we asked Senator Janelle Chanona, a conservationist with a master's degree in investigative journalism, about her past experiences with that legal avenue.
I would say right off, both as a journalist and now as an advocate, every time I have had to resort to the Freedom of Information Act, FOIA for short, it has worked. I want to say, it's been really heartening to get the support from the Office of the Ombudsman, which is a party to the Freedom of Information Act requests. How well it works is another question. We have had experiences where it has highlighted that requesting the information and getting access to the information is facilitated. However, with various government agencies and departments, we found that their maintenance and storage of the information being requested has impacted the quality and the timeliness of the response of the data requests, because, they'll come back and they'll say, all of this data that you want is on one flash drive, and, it's going to impact our work. They've come back and said, we are short-staffed, so getting somebody to compile the information that you've requested will negatively impact our work on the ground.
Senator Chanona and the NGO community have had instances where requested information was missing an important puzzle piece.
In one case, I remember specifically the approval of causeways off Shore Belize City, and we made that request in 2019. We got a set of documents as a part of the response in 2020, but then we also got a letter saying, there may be a few things missing, but it's just a matter of bureaucracy. Somebody got the file somewhere else. So as soon as we get those documents, we will add to the response.
The Freedom of Information Act is imperfect, and to introduce it now as a transparency tool in this company's secrecy matter is, critics would argue, a less than optimal workaround. Reporting for 7 News, Daniel Ortiz.
And we'll have part 2 of that story tomorrow, when you'll hear how this new public disclosure policy introduced by the finance ministers can be easily defeated. And that's 7 News Tonight. Thanks for watching. I am Miriam Abdul-Kawi. You can find a full transcript of the news at 7newsbelize.com and see streaming video on our Facebook page. Join Indira Craig at 8 p.m. for the last night of the Christmas Bram, which is coming up in the next 35 minutes right here on Channel 7. Stay tuned for that and join us back here tomorrow at 6.